Hey guys, welcome back to NY Sports MC. Before we get started, if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel, click the notification bells, comment on the videos, man. I love to hear from you guys, hear your opinions on both what I say and what you think the Jets should do. So I wanted to come out with this video here as we're going to do the first mock draft after the main wave of free agency. Now, obviously, there's still some people available that Joe Douglas can go out there and sign to try to address some of these needs. But the main part of it has concluded, and the draft is right around the corner now as we're under 2 weeks away from the draft. So I did this one on NFL Mock Draft Database website. There is the functionality of making trades on here. I did not want to do that just yet. I wanted to come out with one where I kind of stick pat and just make the Jets selections. So what I also did here too was on some of the picks where I had a few different people I was considering, I wanted to just let you guys know who else was available on the board when I made these picks. Maybe that'll help with some of the comments as you guys can see who I selected over, instead of saying, hey, you should have took this guy, maybe he wasn't available when I picked. So at number 11, we came on the clock with a few options. I went with Andrew Thomas, tackle from Georgia. He is going to be my top tackle. If he's on the board, I'm taking him every single time. I hate when people are the top guys and then all of a sudden the games are over and they're in shorts and all these other guys are jumping over them, right? Andrew Thomas was supposed to be the top tackle taken. He's supposed to be a top 3 pick. If he's there at 11, I am running to the phone. You don't want to say running the card up because they're not going to be in person this year, but running to the phone or however they're going to submit those picks and put that in. No questions asked. So the other people that were available, all the receivers were available, so CeeDee Lamb, Judy, Ruggs, they were all available. And Tristan Wirfs was actually available too. So I went on the clock at 11 with 2 of the top 4 tackles available. Chose Andrew Thomas there. So now we go down to pick number 48 in the second round, and Laviska Shenault fell right in my lap. I can actually see this happening. I know Green Bean's going to be extremely excited about this. As people have Shenault going second half of the first round or top of the second round, the way I can see him falling to us is he does have significant injury risk, and durability is an issue with Shenault. He actually had a core procedure done during this offseason. He's missed some time throughout his college career. The reason he has these durability issues is he is a beast. He runs like a train, and he takes a lot of contact doing that. He is amazing after the catch. He would be an absolute stud and steal at pick 48 if we can get him there and if he can stay healthy. That should be the biggest thing. When I saw Shenault up there, it really wasn't me picking him over anybody, but some of the other options there, Biadasz was there, but I don't think we really go center because McGovern has made it clear that he prefers center to guard, so I think he's going to stay there at center. Also, Weaver and Aquara were there as the edge rushers that I could have considered with that pick as well, but Shenault was too much of a value to pass up at that point. You guys know I'm a big Damon Arnette fan. I think I would have still picked Shenault over Arnette, but Arnette was actually gone 2 picks right before me, so that wasn't even an option for me there in the second round. Shenault, steal. We just addressed the 2 biggest needs on this team, left tackle and wide receiver. So let's head into the third round, where I am starting to fall in love with an edge rusher in the third round here in John Greenard from Florida. He was originally at Louisville, was a grad transfer to Florida last year. Really took over a leadership role there early on, which is crazy because it's such a big program, and for him to be a transfer in his first year, really take on a leadership role. This guy is a workhorse. He is, if you watch his film, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend go on YouTube, look up his highlights. This guy's motor does not stop. He had, in last season, he had 16 tackles for losses, 10 sacks, 4 passes deflected, 1 interception, and 3 forced fumbles. So 3 forced fumbles I really liked as well. I saw him constantly going to try to rip the ball out after he had the player secured. And that's huge. There's 2 different types of people who cause fumbles. The ones who are overly aggressively going for the ball, and I really don't like those type because it's a high risk, high reward, right? You're going to punch the ball out, or you could fall off the tackle because you didn't secure him. If you watch Greenard, he is securing the tackle and then ripping the ball, or at least trying to rip the ball out, which is what I like to see. Hey, first thing first, let's get this guy on the ground. And second, if we could get the ball out, that's an added bonus. So I really, really like Greenard in the third round to help solidify this edge position. The reason he could potentially fall to the third round is he missed all of the 2018 season with a severe wrist injury, and he actually still had it heavily wrapped in 2019. He also had an ankle injury in 2019, kind of played through it. He's a very tough guy. So that's something that will make him drop to us in the third round. Look, guys, I know Florida edge rushers, we're probably all thinking Jachai Polite and the horror that was in the third round last year for us. But this is completely different. This guy is a workhorse. The biggest plus on him is his motor. Like I said, watch his highlight films. You'll see he really recognizes very well as well. He's got his eye on the ball all the time, and he just continues to work until the carrier's down. So I really like him to help play that outside linebacker position opposite of Jordan Jenkins. So now we go. There was really nobody I selected over him. Actually, the funny thing was I was debating between him and this next player that I drafted. The reason I went with Greenard is I felt like the odds of Greenard falling to our next third round pick were slim, or at least slimmer than the person I selected at 79, which was Donovan Peoples-Jones. So now I just doubled down on wide receiver. Peoples-Jones, 6'2" wide receiver. He was the #1 recruit at his position coming out of high school. I think that he was really not used properly at Michigan. I think that he can be a steal in the middle part of the third round here. Some of the people I took him over, if you want to look at other wide receivers, KJ Hill and KJ Hamler. The reason I didn't go with either of those guys is they more fit the mold and the build of a slot receiver. I love Jamison Crowder. I want him to stay long term. I know we have him for another 2 years. If he's still productive, I'd keep him past that. So Donovan Peoples-Jones is somebody I think can compete with Shenault, and not really compete with Shenault, but I think he's one that could be a depth piece for us in this year, kind of develop that potential that he has. And then if Perryman does not come back, because he is on the 1-year deal, Shenault, Peoples-Jones on the outside with Crowder on the slot, I really, really like that. So I would want to develop Peoples-Jones to potentially take over if we do not keep Perryman, or if Perryman does not work out. So trugging right along here in the fourth round, I went with what I thought was another great signing here in A.J. Dillon, running back from from Boston College. I didn't think he was going to be here. He kind of fell to me. So great running back, a lot of production. The reason I think we could go running back here is that as of right now we have Le'Veon Bell and Josh Adams, who I think could develop into a little something. But Powell's a free agent. Montgomery's a free agent. There's all the rumors around Le'Veon Bell and if Gase really wants him or not, or how long could he even be on the Jets, right? So we need to look to get somebody that we can potentially develop and be able to have take over for Le'Veon Bell potentially after this upcoming season. A.J. Dillon, great value in the fourth round. Somebody that can help complement Le'Veon Bell right now and then potentially take over in a year from now. So heading right down to the fifth round pick, we're starting to get into these where we're just going to take shots on people, right? Fifth, sixth round is where you're really going to just look for certain traits and certain abilities that you can get. So I really want to help out Sam Darnold, as you can see from this draft here. I went with Colby Parkinson, tight end, 6'7". So I know we have a few tight ends here: Herndon, Griffin, Brown, Wesco. I like all those guys, right? I think that it's a very nice group for us to have. I just went with this 6'7". They're pretty much saying what you read about Colby Parkinson is he's a wide receiver that plays tight end. He's a red zone threat. He's not going to be an inline tight end. He's going to be that jumbo slot, right? And what I think with this pick in the fifth round, you can get somebody that can make an immediate impact in certain areas, in certain packages, right? Red zone threat. 6'7". This guy loves to go up and get the ball. So that's what I'm looking at here, is just a specialty play right here. Somebody that can compete with these tight ends and be that big red zone threat for Darnold. So at pick 159, I have Colby Parkinson. Now we head into the 6th round, where we're going to have our 2 selections here. At pick 192, I went with Blankenship. Rodrigo Blankenship, I believe, is the best kicker in the nation. We need a kicker on this team. We saw what happened last year. It cost us week 1 against the Bills, and it was rocky for the rest of the season. You draft a guy like Rodrigo Blankenship, and you could not worry about kicker for the next decade, right? We need to have somebody that we just don't have to worry about. Look at all these great teams. They have a solid kicker. I may feel a little bit more about kickers than most, as I was a college kicker myself. Stability there, that's a very important position. They score the most points for you, whether it be extra points, the field goals that they're making, and the game could be on the line and they're up, right? So I want somebody that I don't have to worry about, oh my God, it's a 50-50 chance this guy makes this thing on an extra point, right? I want somebody that goes out there and I'm confident from 50 and in that they're going to get the job done more often than not. And then from 50 plus, it's a good chance, right? So Blankenship is my pick at 192. I want him on this team. We need to solidify that position. And then at 212, our last pick of the draft, I'm actually tripling down on wide receiver. Really looking at it, there was a few people I wanted at, well, a few positions that I wanted to look at. I was looking at some of the players down there, just nothing really triggered me. I went back to wide receiver again, even though I had selected Shenault and Devin Peoples-Jones already. And I saw James Proche from SMU. And I looked into him, and I was like, man, the more and more I looked at it, I'm like, I want to just take a gamble on this guy. Because when I was looking at the other positions, I'm like, I can get an undrafted guy that'll probably be just as much of a lottery ticket as whoever I draft here in the 6th round. But when I looked at James Proche, 6 foot tall, right? Amazing production. He went to a small school, so obviously the production, we have to equate it to who he's playing against. But in 2018, he had 93 catches, 1,200 yards, and 12 touchdowns. In 2019, he had 111 catches, 1,200 yards again, and 15 touchdowns. So why is he available in the 6th round? All this production. Well, 1, again, it's a small school. 2, he lacks the separation. He lacks the crisp route running that you like to see in the NFL. He made his bread on contested catches. This guy has amazing hands, right? If you look at it, he's always defender draped on him, making a contested, going up, making a 50-50 catch, right? Is that going to work out in the NFL? These corners are obviously a lot more talented in the NFL. The lack of separation is something that's going to push him, obviously, all the way down to the 6th round. But it's worth a chance. A lot of college production and contested catches and hands is something that is very, very important. So we take a shot in the 6th round. This guy's going to be fighting at the bottom of the roster, right, to make the team. But if we can get our coaches, our wide receiver coaches, right, Hines Ward, to work with this guy and get him to run some crisper routes, it could be a steal. And that's what I'm looking at. I feel like there could be potentially high value here. And I really do trust the fact that we have Hines Ward back and Jefferson, our wide receiver coach. I trust those guys. I think that they're going to do a very good job at developing our wide receivers. So I want them to have a shot with this guy. Because hands and those contested spectacular catch is something that's very hard to teach. Route running, while it's very much an art as well, I think is easier to teach. Not saying it's easy, but it's easier to teach than those contested catches. A lot of it is footwork, and Hines Ward was great at that. So let these guys work with him. So just a recap again, I got Andrew Thomas in the 1st round, Laviska Shenault in the 2nd round, Greenard, the edge rusher from Florida, and Donovan Peoples-Jones in the 3rd round. I had A.J. Dillon, the running back from BC, in the 4th round. Colby Parkinson, tight end, in the 5th round. And in the 6th round, I had Blankenship and James Proche. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the videos, hit the notification. Where did I go wrong? Who would you guys have taken with some of those people I told you were available in some of those picks? I'm really excited about the draft. I'm going to do one where I include some trades and trade scenarios, but wanted to get this one up with just the picks as we had them. It went a little bit longer than I expected, but I wanted to talk about some of these guys that I had here. So, like I said, let me know in the comments below, and as always, Jet up.